Hey, what's up, fam? Because it's taken me a considerable amount of time to get to these Jujutsu Kaisen chapters. Forgot about 29. Sometimes I get, I get lost in some of the bigger series, and I end up accidentally missing a chapter or something. So I'm going to do 29 and 30 for Jujutsu Kaisen, both in this review. Luckily, 29 was mostly just kind of a fight between Nanami and Yuji, kind of going up against Mahito. And like I said about Mahito's power before, I liked the simplicity of shape shifting, kind of just like body manipulation, but in a way that he, can do it in a very versatile way. I think is pretty cool. I like that part of him. But then him kind of getting pushed as heavily as he can, and that like fear of dying, and just has like sparked him to where he can use territorial expansion, which Nanami talks about how he doesn't have, and he hasn't learned how to do that yet, even in his age. So that's something that will be pretty cool later on that he could get, and kind of be like a pretty reasonable power boost for him when the time comes. But following that, we get like his backstory because he's like, I'm guessing I'm wondering if this was more of a just a general flashback, or maybe he was having like a flash before his eyes, because Mahito's ability, he can like reconstruct people's bodies, and I actually thought it was pretty cool that he had like reconstructed like little human pods, like condensed down and inside of him, so he spits them up, and he could like make his little sentries, his little you know sentry like little fighters run around and cause distractions, so he could go and do more stuff. Pretty creepy, but pretty interesting on him. But obviously, with the kind of description of his ability to like warp people's bodies and like screw with their souls and stuff that Nanami talks about is he has to use the palm of his original hand. I guess he can't use manipulated hands. He can't like warp it really long. I guess it's like got to be in his base state. And once he's in territorial expansion, I guess it like it's a super enhanced to where he's got literally just hands everywhere. And I'm guessing they all count with this ability. So obviously it makes him way dangerous. But then we get the flashback. Nanami's just going through his like what he wanted in life. He didn't want to be a shaman, so he's like, I'm getting out of this. But he tried to be a normal businessman. He just wanted to make money and retire somewhere quiet on like the countryside, and just have like a super bland yet comfortable and safe life. And it would seem to be just kind of that perpetual idea in his head combined with knowing he could do better. Like he kept going to some bakery, and the woman that worked there had like this fly head little monster on her that was like slowly hurting her, and he ends up just like, you know what, screw it, kills it, and then he decides to go back into the business. Obviously he probably wants to help more people than just himself. He seems a little bit stubborn and like stagnant emotion over it sometimes, but he seems like a pretty cool guy. But once we get back to the chapter, like the current space of the chapter, it gets right to Yuji breaking in, and I guess like the way that territorial expansions work, they're easy to get into, hard to get out because it's meant to like trap your prey in. So I think it's a pretty cool thing that they can use later on, and be able to make it like these cage matches. I think that's pretty cool. We've got some good ones so far, but like right when Yuji gets in, I guess Sukuna is it seems to be a little bit ticked off at this point, and you just see him instantly just put Mahito down and just kind of like showing off the threat that Sukuna is. I'm very curious to know if they're gonna continue with him being top dog, or maybe he'll be end up being one of the top dogs. Maybe he's just the top dog in Japan, and they just expand the Jujutsu Kaisen world outside of what we got so far in a maybe worldly way. I don't know. Obviously, we're pretty early in only 30 chapters. And I gotta say, like, I've actually talked to a couple people about this, and they agree with me that the author, I don't mean like the author's name. I think this is his first series, so I'm not used to this guy yet. Uh, Akutami Gigi. I don't know how to pronounce that name, but his rough art style I think works really well with the tone of Jujutsu Kaisen. And I think for a lot of mangas, they try to do some more cheerful, happy manga. It wouldn't fit as well, but just kind of that rough style, I think, just does so well with the tone and the way that like the story is. I think it looks really good. But anyway, it's mostly it for this chapter. Just a nice fight, a little bit of expansion for all three characters, Nanami, Yuji, and Mahito, all in their own way. And it looks like the fight is going to wrap up, and we're going to be done with this little bit. Actually, I really liked the bit in the start of 29. I almost forgot to mention where Yuji was sad that he couldn't even save two people. Obviously, he's a he gets too in over his head. Probably tries to set the bar too high without really acknowledging his skills compared to the situation. And I think addressing that is going to be pretty good for this series versus a lot of other shonen, and kind of keep it in its own style. But anyway, that's it for this one. Comment below and tell me about what you think about this chapter. If you're interested in the series, if you're liking it, which of these characters you enjoyed the most so far, and thumbs up, subscribe, like the video, maybe check out my other content, mostly manga and anime stuff. And thank you for those who have subscribed already. But otherwise, thank you very much for listening.